Welcome to Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day from St. Simons Island, Georgia on WCGA 1100 AM, where we do speak the truth in love based on Ephesians 4:15. In today's woke PC culture, there are many forces that want to stop free speech, especially for people of faith. Good men and women must be willing to stand up for their faith and to be salt and light to preserve our freedom. True freedom comes from faith in Jesus Christ. In John 8:32, God's word says, "The truth will set you free." Today, I'd like to welcome you, friends. I'd like to welcome my beautiful wife, Sonia Gibson.
Day.
That's right. Got it. Sonia Gibson Day. So good to be with you.
Good to be here, Clint.
It's awesome. Well, we just got back from a journey out west, and we had an incredible time. And I wanted to talk to you about that because of the situation of just how hard it is sometimes for someone that is very capable, like Sonia, to help someone like me that has physical challenges. And so we started this trip. We went up into Michigan and went up to the very northern end of the state and got to the southern border of Canada. And we said, look, that's far enough. I wanted to see the end of I-75. And then we came back down, spent a few days with her mom, and then we went out west, starting in Chicago. And we wanted to see Route 66. And Sonia drove us into Chicago, and we got our pictures at the beginning of Route 66. We were in a 21-foot RV, a Dodge Ram RV. And so it's like a big floating closet, if you will. It's really a nice vehicle, but that's what we stayed in. Now, Sonia, tell us about what you were going through when we started that journey.
Well, first of all, you asked me if I wanted to go on a camping trip, and I was all excited for this great camping trip. I packed for a 30-day camping trip to include sweatpants and leggings and things to get dirty. You packed 3 pairs of pants, planning to go to laundromats, I guess. We had very different ideas of what the trip was going to entail. So that was a difference. Nevertheless, we made it work very easily. But that included me moving my great big suitcase around a lot. Also, I didn't know that I was signing up for driving through Chicago traffic in the middle of the night. And mind you, I had to convince you that most Midwesterners don't drive in Chicago. We take the train into Chicago, but we did it. That was something I also didn't sign up for, but again, that was an adventure. But that was good. Yeah. My family thought you were crazy to do so, but we saw the beginning of Route 66 to do that, so that was good.
Yeah, well, there's literally a sign there that says the beginning of Route 66 or the end, depending on where you're coming from.
Yeah, so that was very good.
Yes, it was good. And you did a great job driving through there. And I will be honest about this. This van, we do have hand control, so I can drive it. But since it's so wide, it was, something I was like, she probably ought to be driving this here.
Well,
now, understand, I drove a lot going north from Atlanta. That's where we picked up the van. It was built in Tucker, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And they can retro vans and cars, and they do all sorts of things to help people that are physically challenged. But when we were driving north, I drove most of the way.
Do you want to explain what you mean by so wide, what Tucker, Georgia Max vans did?
Yeah, they did. They added, it's a ProMaster 3500 van, and they added 9 inches to the left, if you will, of the driver's side. So it made it wider so people in wheelchairs can turn around in there better. Because if you have a standard ProMaster van and you just don't have enough room to move around.
Right.
Because it has a shower in it, has a bed that folds down into, or sofa that folds down into a bed. It has, these nice captain chairs. And one of the challenges we had was, only one of them would spin around, which is the driver's side. But we'll get to that a little bit later. But go ahead and tell more.
The passenger side spins around.
Excuse me.
The driver's
That's right,
side
sorry.
was fixed.
It's fixed. That's right. I got it backwards. So,
yeah.
But go ahead and tell more about the beginning of that journey.
So we had a late start out of Michigan because we had some stomach issues in Mackinac Island with Clint and then with me in Michigan. So that presented some challenges for both of us. And then we visited some friends in St. Joseph, Michigan, which is beautiful on Lake Michigan. If you've never been there, it's amazing.
Yeah, it was Tom and Ann Barnes who spend a lot of time here. Y'all know them probably. Yeah.
And so that was great. And then we left Chicago, went through Chicago late at night, like we've said. And then we were hoping to get a hotel outside of Chicago, leaving and going through there so late. And that presented some challenges because every single town was booked full. And
we had spent 4 nights at your mom's house.
Right.
We'd planned on being there 2 nights.
Right.
We ended up staying there 4. And so whenever, you're at the beginning of a trip and you think you have this 30-day plan and, you just end up staying a little bit longer. And her mom brought us breakfast every morning.
Yeah, which was
and,
great.
And I am not a late sleeper. But in order for me to get up out of this bed we're in, I have to have Sonia's help, okay? It has a like a lift in it, and goes down the middle kind of the van, and she can help me, like almost put like a fishnet on me, and she can lift me up out of the scooter and then put me in the bed. And I will literally lay in the bed at night, sleeping in the bed with kind of this net under me, okay? And I can sleep comfortably with that under me. And the next morning, she'll literally put that on me and then, put me back in the scooter.
Which is on the ceiling of the van.
Yeah, of the van, right. So it's on this track on the top of the ceiling of the van. And so that is a real challenge for her. I mean, she, she's a petite lady, but she was building up that arm strength from the very first day we started. And she's got strong legs from running a lot and things. So that would help a lot too. But we have to work these things out.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, when you're a caregiver for somebody like she is for me, it's a 24/7 thing. And so I just really do admire her for doing that. And people would say, hey, what was your favorite thing about your trip? What was a favorite thing you saw? And I honestly came back with it. We had people ask us that the other night, and I came back with being with Sonia. And then, of course, they asked her the same question. And what did you say?
Being with Clint. Well, of course, I'm going to say that.
Yeah.
And it is being with Clint, but there is, of course, I joke that that's what it is. How can you not say that when he says that?
But that's really how I feel.
Man.
And again, you're on this journey and you have goals. I want to encourage anybody out there, when you have a goal and you have a desire to do something and you say, well, I'm kind of get a certain age, or we don't really have the time to do it. I just want to encourage you to do that, because you need other people to join in with you. And Sonia was willing to do this, and it was hard. I mean, when you drive 5 to 8 hours a day, it's work. I mean, it's not easy. And then every night we're trying to find a campground. We'd camp out 3 or 4 nights, and then we'd stay at a hotel, and then so you get a better shower and that type of thing. But the journey, the country is just incredible. So beautiful, and there's no other way to see it than that way. I mean, otherwise you're flying over everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, let's say we're in the very beginning of the trip, and we're in Illinois. And what town were you in again?
We ended up staying in Bloomington, Illinois.
Yes, and we didn't plan on that, but God orchestrated that, and I'm very glad we did.
Yeah. It was really great because most people, when they do Route 66, they kind of plan it out. There's all kinds of apps where you can kind of orchestrate where you're going to stop. A lot of things will suggest that you drive about 200 miles a day, and you can plan it all out, where you're going to stop, where you're going to eat, what you want to see, the giant Superman, the blue whale, the this or that. We didn't do that. We knew that we kind of didn't know. And I'm really glad that we didn't. We stopped at things. We saw a lot.
The blue whale.
We did see the blue whale. We saw a lot of things. We did see the museum in Bloomington. We didn't plan on it, and it just really kind of worked out. We got to see a lot of the historical stuff because of that. It gave us a lot more of what we did want to stop and see along the way. But, I mean, we just kind of flew by the seat of our pants.
Yes. Well, in the past, I've done trips out west or in other parts of the country, And we made plans every day. You know,
Yeah.
when you travel with your family, you
Yeah.
really need to know you got a hotel room
Yeah.
or whatever. And in this case, if we'd have missed one night, though, you know, if you have all these plans and you miss one night, then you got to get all those, tell everybody you're off your schedule, and you got to redo everything. So there's kind of a catch-22, go either direction. But and I
Yeah.
think if you're traveling with family or small children, you have to literally plan all that out. But in our case, like in Bloomington, I had no idea the history of that town. Like
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln spent a lot of time there, and I didn't know that. He was a practicing attorney in the courthouse where the museum is.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of history that we were able to see that I would have never thought about seeing without kind of accidentally going there. And that was where we also, is that where the fire department was too? Is that where that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was.
that's one of the things, you know, people say, well, did anything kind of bad happen? And we pulled into a parking lot at a church there, and there was a couple homeless guys walking by, and I made her aware of it. They had a mailbox or something. They could go get some food out of it or something
Right.
at the church. And I made the comment, well, if there's a problem with our transfer here, there's a fire station right across the street there. And I just kind of said that flippantly.
So
Go
back
ahead.
up for just a second. The reason why why we parked there
Yeah.
is because it's easier to transfer you to the passenger seat or the driver's seat when we're more flat.
That's correct.
So as a van, we need to be level.
As possible.
Right.
And there was not many places
Right.
very level.
It was
and this
kind of
wasn't
hilly.
perfectly level.
Right.
Yeah.
So you made the comment that go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
The firemen are right across the street.
Right.
So what happens?
So we go to transfer, and the transfer board, for those people that don't know, a transfer board is like a kind of like a cutting board. It slipped, and Clint his body slid in between the seat and his scooter.
The scooter kind of rolled away.
Right. And so his bottom was kind of in between, and he's not a light man, and I couldn't pick him up. And now there's lots of things we could have done. I could have used the hoist. I could have put the net under him. I could have done a lot of things. We were somewhat prepared for that. But Clint's like, go grab a couple of those firemen. So I didn't have shoes on. It was hot. We didn't have the van running because we just thought it was going to be a real quick transfer. So I run across the street, and I'm like, excuse me, can you help me? And these big, burly firemen come across the street and pick Clint up and put him in the seat. Now we realized what happened was that when the board slipped, it disengaged his scooter. There's a little lever in the back that will kind of put it in neutral, if you will.
And break it.
Yeah.
You won't let it move.
Yeah. So we made ourselves aware of that to not let that happen in the future. But we also didn't tell anyone that story, particularly his children.
Didn't want to scare anybody. That kind of happened early on.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we know, you've always got to be prepared. You got to have a plan B. Try to figure out how to, fix something if somebody has a problem. But in that case, what we learned, we thought this net would be able to get me into the driver's seat, and we learned it really didn't because of the way it gets cut off,
Yeah.
and because the driver's seat would not pivot, right?
Right.
Would not turn. So I would get out of my scooter. We'd use this transfer board, and I'd get into the passenger seat, and then she would turn the passenger seat around toward the driver's seat, and then we'd get the transfer board and transfer to the driver's seat where I could drive. And that particular morning, the reason I wasn't in the driver's seat already was because we wanted to go to the museum. So if we're going on a short ride, I just stay in the back. She locks me down in my scooter, and then we go to some place we want to go. I can get out easier, right?
Right.
It's not so much work. Whereas when you do a lot of stopping with somebody in a wheelchair, if they transfer to the driver's seat, it's a lot of work to transfer from the driver to the passenger back to the scooter and then get out. So we tried to make it where when we were going to see something that morning, we would try to, I'd be just in my scooter, and then we'd drive to where we were going to go, a mile or two. We wouldn't drive very far because, to lock me down properly takes quite a few minutes. So that was just a real, one of the early things that happened. But after that, we really didn't have a problem with that at all. And early on, too, Sonia was helping me transfer when we'd put out the bed. she was helping me transfer literally by pushing me in the bed.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work. And so we figured out the net would make that a lot easier.
So the other thing that made things a little bit more cumbersome is the bed is very squishy. And I kept saying it's like moving in quicksand. Even for Clint, it's difficult anyway, but it's difficult for me. It's like I'm in slow motion. So moving my body to help him move his body was very difficult. So once we started using the lift, it was much easier. The other reason why I bring up about me with my great big suitcase is the suitcase that I bought to go on a cruise. So when I talk about that, when we were moving and traveling, it would sit on the sofa when it was all folded up. But when the sofa was folded out to sleep on, it was blocking the exit. So Clint was stuck inside. He wouldn't be able to get out. So that's definitely something that we would change when we go
Absolutely.
next time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a great big thing like that.
Exactly. And so there's a lot of things like that we recognize. Our van actually opens to the back side.
Right.
And the way the people in Tucker did it, it's a lot of the ramp is actually within the body of the van.
Right.
And so it has a lift type proper platform that goes down. So it only opens up about 3 feet out the back of the van.
Right.
So if somebody's driving down a parking spot or parking lot, they're less likely to run over you or whatever. And then you're not parking next to another vehicle. So a lot of times people will block the side of a van, like my van I have now that I get in from the side. A lot of times we're in parking spots where they will literally block us.
Yeah.
They're really bad about that sometimes down at the village. People will pull up in golf carts in those lines and not realize, somebody's got to get out this side. You don't have, you shouldn't be parking there. So that's happened a few times. But again, usually if you're with me, it's no big deal. If I'm by myself, that's a real problem.
Yeah.
So when we think about these trips and we think about helping someone like this, you think about the journey, whatever your journey is, I just want to encourage you to do it. Don't talk yourself out of it. And that's one thing I'm so grateful to Sonia again. Just she maintained an incredible attitude and stayed positive. Yes, we had plenty of times we were very aggravated with each other and aggravated with the situation, but that's just kind of normal. But when you're really in a full-time mode like that, it's also important for Sonia to kind of get a break too every once in a while. Like, I'm going to go call my mom. I'm going to go do something else, And so either I'm, sitting in the van or out, a few times we were definitely by the picnic table or whatever, or at the hotels we stayed in. You could just get a break. You need to have some separation. It's got to be some time because we're used to that in day-to-day life here. Yeah. We're not around each other 24/7. You come and go. I have visiting angels come here, help me so you can go do other things. So I think that's very important, even when you're on a journey like that, to not feel like, hey, we just can't be all together all the time. You got to have a few minutes of a break. And it was good that you had your mom to go call. Yeah. And whoever else you wanted to call. Yeah. So that's good. Now, when we think about, okay, where were we next? What happened? Do you remember after there, where were we next? We were riding through Missouri and
let's see. Well, we returned through St. Louis, right? Mm-hmm. We had gone through St. Louis last year. Yeah. We decided not to stop because we spent quite a bit of time in St. Louis last year. One thing we learned after that was we needed to make sure to call. Actually, I think we learned that on the way up, is we needed to make sure to call for campgrounds before 5. Yeah. Because we were going to have a hard time if we called after 5.
Right. A lot of them are just closed at 5. They close it down. It's real easy if you just go ahead and make a reservation to get into it, even if they're closed. The front desk is closed or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But we did have some luck with some of those. Some of the more private places answered the phone, and we were very blessed to be able to get in at the last minute. We had some, like the city park for like $12 or whatever. I don't remember where that was, but we had some good cheap places that were still pretty good.
And was that the night we stayed at that place on the Ohio River, overlooking toward Kentucky somehow? How did we? That was nights before. That's right.
Yeah,
we
that was
stayed
on
there.
our way up
Yeah,
to
that was
Michigan.
on the way up. So
Uh-huh.
okay, so and then one thing that I do remember is going through Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
I really was surprised by the geography of Oklahoma.
Right.
I did not realize how hilly and beautiful, mountainous East Oklahoma is.
Right.
I just always visualized cornfields, flat, and that's Western, but Eastern was really beautiful. And then what city did we go through? And was it Tulsa? We went through Tulsa. We got off the highway in Route 66, and Tulsa's pretty good.
Yeah, they were really big about their Route 66
And the
neon
retro,
signs and
keeping
stuff.
that, yeah. And so we really enjoyed just driving through there. And of course,
Yeah.
realize a lot of what we were doing because of, again, my physical side, not getting in and out. And we just were, it's like you said, we were on a road trip. We were not on a camping trip.
Right.
And so we really enjoyed going through there. And was there anything particularly interesting? Just the retro look.
I tried getting a lot of pictures through there, but I didn't get very good pictures. But it was really cool. There were so many of the neon signs through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old school retro.
That's right. And then, of course, I want to remind everybody, too, every morning we would definitely pray and ask God to protect us and surround us. I mean, we had family and friends that were very concerned. Man, what are you doing? I mean, why are you doing this? What you're kind of, there are other things you can be doing with your time. But again, when it's your goal, and I turned 66 this year, Route 66, I want to go see it. And I had no idea that I'd be married to Sonia by now, and I'm so grateful. But she was able to share that dream. And again, I go back to your dreams. When you have a dream, you have something on your bucket list, and you talk yourself out of it every time, go ahead and do it. I want to encourage you to do it. And it's funny, we have a lot of states that, you bought this really cool map for the back of the van with all the states on it. And then so every time we went to a state, she'd put a little sticker on our van with the state. And we'd have people come and look at it, and
Yeah.
they're from like India or something, going, "Hey, that's Texas, that or whatever." They'd be out there talking. I remember we were loading up one time, and some guy was showing his wife the back of our van, and for
That
some
was
reason,
really
yeah,
cool. Our
yeah.
windows were very tinted. People
Yeah.
didn't know we were in there.
Yeah, you can't see. and then you when we missed Utah though.
Right.
And so we have this big open space in the middle of the West. And so we got to go back somehow and do Utah. And so we've even been talking, you wouldn't think after 4 or 5 days of being back, you'd be ready to talk about the next trip. And next year, we hope, Lord willing, maybe go up in Michigan, see your family, and then go up the northern states, right? Wisconsin, Minnesota,
Yeah.
Dakotas, Montana, and then back to Oregon and back down into the Northern California, because we
Yeah.
didn't go to the Redwood Forest.
Right.
We couldn't. I mean, California, all those states out west, they are huge. You just
Yeah.
have no idea. If you're used to driving around the Southeast,
Yeah.
you just go, man, you're going to be gone a long time trying to figure all that out. So it was just incredible. We put 7,500 miles on the van.
I know.
We got this brand new van, Dodge Ram ProMaster 3,500, and I had no idea we were going to put 7,500
We had to get the
miles.
oil changed.
Had to get the oil changed for sure, and we kept having trouble finding a place that did that. And
Still
we-
never got a car wash.
Yeah,
we
didn't
needed
get a car
it bad.
wash, and we'd ask people to wash the windows, and because that front window. Let's just start. Where were we? We're going through Oklahoma, and then we're going. Did we make it to Amarillo? Went through Amarillo.
And then we took the extra little jaunt up to Santa Fe, which I'm really glad we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Amarillo. What kind of cars did we see that were buried? The cattle. We didn't actually.
We
see
didn't stop
Cadillac-
at the
Cadillac
Cadillacs.
Ranch or
Yeah,
whatever.
we didn't stop
but we
there.
stopped
We
at
saw them
one that was like that.
right before it.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, and there's just all sorts of, again, Route 66 things people did. So, and then Santa Fe. What'd you think about Santa Fe?
It was very cool.
Yeah.
I liked Santa Fe. I liked all the Adobe homes. It was really hard to take pictures of all that too, to show to show the scape of it. It was just really neat. Yeah.
And then we went to a restaurant by the train rail station where a lot of people
Yeah.
were coming off the
Yeah.
Santa Fe train or whatever. and do you remember at all that name of that restaurant? I cannot think of it, but it's right there by in Santa Fe, right near the downtown area.
Yeah.
That I'd highly recommend
Yeah.
anybody would go there that would go. And we had all sorts of help. One of the things that would happen in hotel rooms, and I don't know why, it just seems like it's a new thing in hotel rooms. If you're physically challenged, I think they're making the beds so low.
Well, they're buying beds that are not built on
A box spring.
box springs. They're buying the memory foam mattress only
Right.
on a board or whatever. And so they're way lower than they used to be.
Right. And so if you're in a wheelchair, my understanding is like 17 to 19 inches. So we can understand that a lot of people that are in a wheelchair, that would be the case. My scooter's about 24 inches high. And so if you're in a bed that's that low, it can be a real challenge to transfer from the bed back into that. And so at the courtyard there, we were at the courtyard in Santa Fe, we had a couple of gentlemen that had to come and help me transfer back up because, I mean, she could not literally help me. And we've had that experience in other hotels. Dalton at the Republican convention, there was a lady that was an EMT specialist that happened to be working the front desk, and she literally put me on a sheet and pulled me up onto my seat. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. But you know, again, that's one of those things that you don't really think about if you're physically challenged, because she has to literally help me lean up in the bed. I can do my own bed at home. I can play off my scooter and still get up. But we're in a strange place. She has to literally pick me, you know, laying in the bed, leans me up in the bed, and then helps me transfer. The bed is the same height or a little bit higher. It's real easy to transfer back to the scooter. But that's one thing that's interesting. As a matter of fact, we contacted Courtyard and said, hey, you know, why don't you put these beds about 24 inches high? And
even if there was that much higher,
3 inches higher, 4 inches, we could do that. But it really is a challenge, and I don't really know the standard according to some ADA stuff we read was like 17 to 24 inches or 25, whatever, maybe 23. But the bottom line, there is a standard, but a lot of them are just too short for us to transfer. But I think as somebody in a wheelchair, it's easier to transfer into it, in my view, from where I am when it's a little bit higher. But it's hard to transfer back off onto the wheelchair or the scooter, at least in my case.
When you're going uphill,
you want to be a little bit up. And that's one thing that I would suggest in hotels. I don't know what the real reason they do it all, but when we contacted them, they said, we'll look at that, which I thought was interesting in the customer rep. How about going forward? Where were we next after Santa Fe? Do you remember?
Let's see.
We went through Winslow, Arizona.
We did. It was dark, but we stopped and took pictures on the corner.
Yes. The Take It Easy song, the old Eagles song, Take It Easy. And what does it talk about? The girl in the corner or something?
Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona.
Yes. And so there were a lot of people there doing the same thing we were right at that same time. And so, again, it's very interesting to see the different people. They want to help you, and people want to take pictures with you or whatever. Can we take a picture for you or whatever? It's always amazing how nice they were and just how much fun it is to just be a part of that history and, you know, the culture, and just getting away from it. And again, I every day we're always asking God to protect us and be with us. And then when you're just riding through those mountains and seeing those cactus and seeing all the different views and seeing the animals that we did see, you're just always praising God, you know, not praising creation by any means like some people try to do, but we really want to praise God through this process. And again, I encourage anybody, when you got those dreams, go fulfill them. Don't let them just be dreams
The
in your
different
head.
landscapes too that, you know, God's created as you drive across our country is just amazing to me.
And the colors of the soil,
flowers,
the mountains.
and you know, the different animals, and it's just I just love it all.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
And then so we get in from Arizona and we go into California, and our goal is Santa Monica, okay, because that's the end of the Route 66 trip. And so we're going into California, and I got to be honest about this. I was really kind of surprised how dirty California was, particularly Southern California, because
the trash on the roads.
Just the trash, basic trash that, you know, just get somebody to pick it up, right? Pay some people to pick it up or whatever.
Well, even the adopt-a-highways
Yeah.
weren't adopted.
Yeah. I remember you saying that. I was like, well, there's one that's adopted, but a lot of them would be
It was
left
still
open.
vacant. Yeah.
And so, again, that was just one thing that I was kind of surprised because, again, it's just beautiful. I mean, but there's a lot of just detailed trash that you just know that if somebody would take the initiative to clean it up, it'd look a lot better. And of course, coming into California, Southern California, is just the air was good for me. I felt very good there. And we went into Santa Monica, and we stayed at the Eden Hotel.
Which was the former Shangri-La.
And and it was one of those that I just looked up online, and they were able to book us. It was about a block or two away from the pier, and had great restaurants, great food, and there's definitely an eclectic group of people. I mean, I definitely saw people like I'd never seen before in my life there on the Santa Monica Pier too, and but it was enjoyable.
It was fun.
The people were nice, and I
How about
remember
the squirrels?
Yeah, the squirrels.
Talk about the squirrels.
Biggest. Go ahead, you tell them.
Huge, fat squirrels, huge, and burrowing into the what do you call that? The embankment.
Whatever,
The cliff, the embankment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never seen fatter squirrels in my life.
Yeah, the city is up on a hill,
Yeah.
and the beach is down below.
Yeah.
I bet that cliff is, 30 feet, 40 feet, something like that. It's very big. And so you have this beautiful view, and then, like you said, they're the biggest squirrels you've ever seen. Do you remember at all what kind of squirrel
I
they
looked
were?
them up. I don't remember off the top
but
of
they
my
definitely
head.
burrow a lot, and they were, you would see areas where it looked like they burrowed too much, and part of the sidewalk would fall,
Yeah, it'd been
cave in.
Yeah, it's closed
And-
off and
yeah.
stuff.
And so,
Lots of homeless people.
yeah, a lot of homeless people. That's one thing that really
Saw that
was
in
hard.
almost every city we were in.
every and but it seems like there was a lot more there. Of course, I don't blame them. It's a very nice place to live. And I remember when we checked in the hotel, I asked the front desk clerk, is this a safe place to be? And he said, oh yeah, it's very safe here. You're fine to walk around. And he said that they have some kind of community police officers. They don't really have police. They had these community
Volunteers.
volunteer type people that were really aware of what's going on, and we saw a lot of them. We would notice them, and so we felt safe there. Again, when you go back to the Santa Monica thing, it's just you're at the end of your vision as far as that part of the trip, and so you can go out on Santa Monica Pier, and they literally have a sign there that says the end or the beginning of Route 66. So we of course got our picture there, and of course you can imagine they have all sorts of actors and people doing little plays and are doing break dancing type things and asking for tips, of course. And so it's a real festive place. We really did enjoy that. And what was one of the things the guy talked about? He was talking about that we're all members of the human race.
Oh yeah.
Remember him saying
break
that?
dancers, yeah.
Yeah, the break dancers, and we all need to take care of each other, and we're one race, the human race. And I've always liked Alveda King saying that, that we're all members of the human race. We're all one race, and we can need to do a better job of taking care of each other. And then another gentleman that was from the Atlanta area, from Georgia, who was an entertainer, singer, and you didn't really see him because you had gone somewhere else.
I was getting stickers.
Yeah. You were getting stickers, and so
For the RV.
Yeah, for the RV, and he was he was really good, and
He was like Marvin Gaye type.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye type, and just really was singing some faith-based songs too
Yeah.
in his process, and so it's really neat to see. And then again, just the festivity of it. I'd highly recommend going to Santa Monica, check it out, and really enjoy that aspect of it. And we had some very good restaurants there. Again, not remember the names of them,
I
but
don't
they were
remember any
near our
names.
hotel. That's one
Yeah.
thing I do know. The reality too is just how you meet people, and how you never know who you're going to meet. And I don't meet many Clints, but I remember one of our waiters was a Clint, and he said, "Well, my name's Clint, and either you love me or you hate me." And I was having to laugh about that because he was talking about Clinton or Clint Eastwood, I guess. But he just gave us favor, right? I mean, that's one thing that I always love about when God takes you. I mean, there are plenty of places where you go and you just feel like God's shining on you, he's smiling at you, and he's saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a little a favor here."
Yeah.
And I remember I asked him for some reason I wanted some hot chocolate. He's like, "Well, I don't know if we have hot chocolate good to go.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he figured it out, and I tried to pay him for it, and he's like, well, no, that's going to be on me because you didn't get your chicken
Yeah,
or something
you forgot
like
my
that.
chicken.
He said, they forgot your chicken, so we're not going to, on your salad, so we'll just give you this to you, and y'all can have these for free and get out of going out. But again, the favor of God, I remember too, just other ones. You got other ones you remember that?
I
Just
feel
where you
like
feel favor?
I had several things happen to me like that unfortunately you didn't get to experience in some of the campgrounds because you were kind of stuck in the van, right? Where, like when I'd go to the restroom to use the restroom or put on my makeup or whatever, I could have done it in the van. It was just, we never really figured out our water. But we will. But it was just easier. But also, it did give me chances to talk with some other, campers or some of the campground managers or other campers and stuff like that. Like the one guy that you did meet him, the guy that had on the hat and T-shirt that, what was it? Trump is my president, Jesus is my Lord, or something like that.
I saw him.
And I started a conversation with him, and I had to kind of break away from him because we were trying to go, and he just was very chatty and very gracious about, wishing us well and, wanting to, know more about our trip and suggest places for us to go and stuff like that, And what about Ty that we met in West Yellowstone?
Yeah, West Yellowstone. We had a really good opportunity to talk to him and share Jesus with him and try to encourage him in reading the Bible. And obviously the guy at the hotel, the Eden Hotel, I tried to encourage the young man there that the front desk get back in his faith and that Jesus loves him. And I think a lot of people need to hear that Jesus does love you, even though you may be in a rebellious place. He still loves you and wants a relationship with you. It's not about religion because he had grown up Catholic. And I always like to tell him, look, it's about relationship. It's not about religion. It's not about showing up for church just on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's reading the Word. It's getting to know him and talking to him and trusting him to take care of you. And so we had a lot of good opportunities for things like that. And I remember, as a matter of fact, that guy, that was one in West Yellowstone. And he was saying that, my mom, it's really important to my mom, And it's amazing how many of us have a mom that's really points you to Jesus, and that was really cool that she'd probably been talking to him for years, and he was actually from Orlando and Fort Myers, I guess, originally. Now lives in Orlando, and he and his wife go out west every summer and basically manage campgrounds for people like that. They have a certain company, which I thought was an interesting thing too. That's an idea for somebody, a couple that's retired that has time to do it. Maybe go manage a campground for somebody for a few months to get an inexpensive place to stay, and then also enjoy meeting with campers and stuff.
Yep.
I thought that was a neat idea. How about anything else? What else you got? Thinking about Yosemite. Let's go back. We've left Santa Monica and we're heading to Yosemite, which is a pretty big drive. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. There'd probably be a place to go between if maybe you'd be a better situation.
It was a long drive. Well, the people from, was it Sweden that stayed next to us?
Yes.
That was interesting meeting them. They were really sweet people. They were very interested about the U.S. When they first talked with me, they were like, I asked them, what brought you to Yosemite? And they're like, well, this is the place to be, right? and there were others that I've spoken.
They had rented a van.
Right. They had
RV.
They had flown into San Francisco. They toured around San Francisco a little bit, staying in a hotel, and then they rented an RV and came to Yosemite. And like you and I have talked about, like, apparently that to me is what they had been kind of shown, that Yosemite is the place to come visit in the U.S. as far as camping. And I can see why. I mean, it's beautiful. But it was just interesting that they were just and they had two teenage children, and they were just they spoke very good English, and they were very athletic and really liked to do stuff like that, and very very trustworthy of Americans too. They were just very intrigued about American culture. If you remember when they went camping for the day, they left their chairs at their campsite. Very very different than a lot of the other tourists that we saw, if you remember. But very unique people. If you remember, that night they set up and they were playing games and stuff like that. And just really cool people, very interested about American culture and American geography.
And that's one thing, because of your camping experience, you've done a lot of camping.
Yeah.
You had a lot more trust of people than I did. I mean, I was always kind of looking around going, what's going on?
Well, by nature, I do anyway.
Where's she going? And then
Yeah.
I tell you one thing that impressed me that I did not know, most of the campgrounds have very nice bathroom facilities and a shower.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I did not appreciate that till more toward the end, actually. And I mean, nice toilets, nice showers, roll-in showers. A lot of them were roll-in showers for people like me that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
And so it's very practical from a camping standpoint. I mean, why would you have it hard for someone to get in and out of a shower, right? Make it easy. But that's, again, just one of those things I did not really realize. And you and I didn't take advantage of that more until toward the end because of my hesitation, my lack of experience, right?
Yeah.
So
if you remember, I think it was the second campground we stayed in, I was like, Clint, this is really nice.
Yeah.
They have a very nice handicap. And you were like, not even really listening to me, remember?
Right. Because what I would normally do is we'd stay in a hotel, like I say, every 3 or 4 days. And that's when I would really try to take a really good shower or whatever. And obviously in between take kind of a French bath, right? So, well, let's go on. Okay, so we've gone to Yosemite. Tell us about where we stayed.
Okay, so
we did not make plans. I did not properly plan for this stay at Yosemite.
So Yosemite, the night before we went into the park, we stayed, like I said, next to the Swedish people, super nice. And then we're driving around Yosemite, and so
it's very crowded. I mean, this time of year in
very
July,
crowded.
It was very, very crowded.
Like in the store while you were taking a nap, I nearly had a panic attack because there were so many people.
Yeah.
And I have a new fear of heights. And I drove around Yosemite. So that was really hard for me. There were parts where I couldn't go like more than 5 miles an hour because it was so high.
And it brought you to tears one time. That was not good.
I had like almost a full-on
But obviously
attack.
she's better at the tight curves, things like
Because
that,
the hand
than I am.
controls.
Yeah, because I drive with one hand.
Yeah.
And so driving through these mountainous areas, I want to have some room to maneuver.
Yeah.
And so I limited that in Yosemite.
Yeah. So it got to be dark a lot quicker in Yosemite than we were kind of anticipating because of the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So you went to the front desk, because that's where we were closest to try to get a room at the lodge. And there was a long line. It was really crowded, and I didn't feel like standing there. I was already kind of over.
Right, and they were, of course, booked.
Yeah.
And then so we couldn't really find a place. We were literally at dinner asking the waiter and one of the water guys, where can we go park and just sleep tonight because we have our own van? And one guy suggested we go to the employee parking area and just sleep there.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, that's going to be the worst case. We know where that is. We may do that. But anyway, go ahead.
While you were in line waiting to try to find a room at the lodge, I got on my phone and looked. And I found online, because I searched all area within Yosemite, and it said there was a vacancy for $105 or whatever at the housekeeping camp. So I was like, I don't think we want to stay where the housekeepers stay. So I didn't even mention it. I didn't look any further. So after dinner, and the guy had said we could stay in our van in the parking lot, I thought, well, maybe we want to stay where the housekeepers stay. So I mentioned it to you. And you're like, well, let's book it. So come to find out, it was basically we drive over there, and it's basically shantytown. It's
I mean, I
what
was
it
like, my
looked
mom
like.
would not like this.
Well, it was a little less than shantytown, but it was like this.
To me, it was like plywood. I know you saw camping tent type things, but to me, it was like
It was like
it
canvas.
was like,
Yeah.
it was shantytown. It was shantytown.
It was
And I was like,
shantytown with Mercedes
I'm
parked
not
at
staying
it.
in one of those rooms. It did have very nice cars, very nice cars from Texas and California. I'll admit that. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so we booked it. And after taxes and fees and everything else, it was like $150 for shantytown, which we didn't stay at it. We just parked our van there
And slept inside the van.
in the parking
And
lot.
a lot of places will tell you don't run your generator. And our RV has a very quiet generator, so
It's built inside.
yeah, we could turn it on. And then of course we're running out of time here. We only have about another 7 or so minutes.
Okay.
So we enjoyed Yosemite, highly recommend it, but we missed the redwoods. So next year hopefully we can go see the redwoods. And then so we make beeline to
Again, wouldn't recommend that.
wouldn't recommend beelining, but we beeline to Yellowstone. And we came in on the west side. Usually coming from the East Coast, you would come in from the east. But we came in from the west and to West Yellowstone. Enjoyed our stay there. We talked about that a little bit. And then we stayed there for several days. And we stayed at the Lake Yellowstone Hotel one night. And we were very fortunate that we were able to get a room at the last minute.
Sweet.
And we literally got a suite. They gave us a very nice room. And, because everywhere we'd go, we would also try to say we're on a more, honeymoon. We just recently got married. So God gave us favor there. And that's an old hotel. Yellowstone was started by President Grant and his administration in 1872, which I did not know that. I thought it was a Theodore Roosevelt thing. Roosevelt apparently started the Park Service in like 1916. But I mean, folks, that is one thing that I'm grateful that our country did, are these national parks. That was a brilliant idea because the stories around Yellowstone, people wouldn't even believe them. When the first Europeans told about what was there, they made it sound like it was close to hell because we know it's a super volcano, right? So we had an incredible time there, and I'd highly recommend it. Any comment on Yellowstone?
I knew it was amazing. I knew Old Faithful was there. I knew it was just this awesome national park, but I had no idea. I didn't know there was a lake there. I didn't know there was a marina there. I didn't know you could take boats there. I didn't know they had boats there. I had no idea how big it is. I didn't know.
And just all the different things you see. Every corner you see the animals.
The eye candy.
Watching the bison run.
I knew that was there, but I didn't know.
But I mean, we got to see the bison
magnitude
running through the valleys and just like they did 500 years ago.
I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, the bubbling mud, volcanic, whatever that is, the different colors of that stuff, and
the sulfur burning your eyes.
The sulfur burning smell you can hear. You can have it in the background. It's incredible.
God's glory there
absolutely
is something that
old
you
faithful.
just cannot
Yes.
explain.
Yes.
And that's why they didn't believe
That's right.
the Europeans when they had the paintings and the drawings and they didn't believe when it was brought back.
Because these guys were going back and explaining these were geysers that just blow up. It's like hell, that's what they would describe it as. And then when you go to Old Faithful and you see all the international people around us, we had some Indian folks near us, and we were all waiting for Old Faithful to go off. And if you know Old Faithful's, it's not as faithful as it used to be because of Mount St. Helens, right? So it's really changed. But it was just so amazing. Then we left Yellowstone, and I'd highly recommend you spend a lot of time in Yellowstone.
A lot more than we
did. It is
did.
my favorite place in the world, except for Israel. I love Israel better, but I'm going to tell you, if you could ever get to Yellowstone, please get to Yellowstone. Then we beeline to Fair Play, Colorado, where my niece lives, had some good time there, camped there, then went from there to Southern Illinois, then to Nashville, back to Atlanta, back to St. Simon's. It was an amazing journey. And of course, I thank God for you, for hanging in there, having a great attitude. And there clearly are times when you're like, okay, I'm really over this. This is too much work, but it's going to be worth it. And anything worth having in life takes some effort, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And again, when you're riding, and you kid about me with eye candy. I told you that from the very beginning. You're like, I'm tired of the word eye candy. I've heard it enough, but it's just true. We saw so much. It's an amazing country. It's so big, and you don't appreciate it until you get out there and you do it. And so if there's a dream, a goal you have, I just want to encourage you to do it. Any other final thoughts?
You don't have to have an RV.
You
don't have to have a van. You can fly. You can rent a car.
Just get out there and do it.
You can get on YouTube.
Right. And
won't be the same, but.
Right. And then don't let your physical challenge stop you.
No
don't
way.
let it stop you. Try to figure out a way to get around it. And again, I think about so often, we can all have a pity party sometime about what our situation is. But, and some people do. But if you're out there having a pity party right now, I want to encourage you to stop doing that. Get your attitude right. I mean, I could have a pity party about where I am, but I thank God every day that I have the energy to do what I do.
Yep.
And I look forward to the fact that this is my temporary home. My permanent home is in heaven forever because of Jesus Christ. There's nothing better than walking with Jesus, right?
Sure.
Or in my case, rolling with Jesus.
Yep.
I love rolling with Jesus.
Yep.
And I think about that all the time. I love those Brandon Lake songs that talk about, walking with Jesus. It's so, so powerful. So again, any final word real quick?
Tell them about the only bonfire we had.
Oh, no, you go ahead and tell them.
A citronella candle.
We had these starter things. We could never find them. And then we were at Yellowstone by the getting ready to stay in a hotel, but we were in a nice place, and they wouldn't let us run our heat. And so you had to get up several times to turn the
39 degrees one night.
39 degrees one night in Yellowstone. So be prepared. If you go out there at night, it can be very...
We had to start the van.
Yeah, yeah. And be prepared, too, for the air quality. The air elevation kind of got me a little bit. But
and some altitude sickness.
Absolutely. But that's an amazing thing. So God took care of us.
Yeah.
He prayed. We had plenty of prayer warriors. We were sending back pictures.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were praying for us. They were talking to us, and they were saying, please send more pictures.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you, Sonia, for joining me today. God bless you. And I'd like to say, good day, friends. I want to thank you for joining us today for Speak the Truth in Love with Clint Day on 1100 AM WCGA from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. Remember, every day is a God day.